What's up, homie?
David is conquering all the countries around him in great military victories and plundering them and taking vast amounts of wealth from them. This affects the people in Israel because it is a great source of pride for the people. Plus, there is now a great wealth in their nation. David is thanking God a lot also in this passage, which makes God happy, and God will favor Israel. So this benefits Israel a lot.
Whoa!
Where's this?
Okay, David decides to sleep with Bathsheba, and that is a sin. Well, not really, but he decides to kill her husband Uriah in battle. And his son, Absalom, decides that since his father is allowed to sleep with women and do these things, that he doesn't really like this, okay? So David and Absalom create a battle that affects all of Bnei Israel and all of the citizens.
No way.
Yeah, so David's actions affect all of the citizens' homes.
So, in this verse, we can see that David, when faced with a choice, it's like the most impossible decision where everybody's going to get hurt, chooses the one where, like, everybody will be hurt equally. So, like, if he chose war, then he wouldn't get hurt. If he chose famine, again, he wouldn't get hurt. But he chose pestilence, so like, everybody is, like, equal in this. So it shows he's, like, trying to make everyone, he's making decisions that inspire loyalty, and people are going to follow him again. Really tanks.
David. We're evaluating him as a leader. Him deciding to show his great leadership skills by sending messengers to express his condolences about Absalom. Citizens of Bnei Israel may see David doing the right thing as a leader and decide that they want to do this as well. They may see David's great personality and want to improve their personality. David's actions make all of Bnei Israel's citizens better people around them. Don't you agree, people? Thank you. This affects Israel because David is forcing him and his men to go easy on Absalom. So it's possible for David's men to die because they're going easier on Absalom. Snack break. Okay. But since David and his soldiers always have God on his side, it is less likely for them to die.
So, this quote shows that David can inspire his people because after he takes out Goliath, they then go to win the war, and it gives them the strength to pursue the Philistines back to their homeland and chase them out of Israel.
High five.
That was it. Okay, so in this verse we see David do more things that inspire great loyalty, which is that he chases after all the Israelite men's wives and possessions from the camels and the bad guys, and wins it all back, and that's like it inspires great loyalty for obvious reasons that he's giving it back, and he's inspiring it. He's making them in debt to him, so they have something that they must do for him. So he now has gained a bunch more men that are much more loyal to him than they were before. Yep. Anyway, so
Don't talk like that.
in this verse,
Okay, good.
we see actually David, the bad side of David, and that he does actions that he's advised against, even though he knows it's going to end badly for everybody involved. So he's just being a big idiot. And so, like, what he does directly affects the people, and he knows it's going to affect them badly, and he just doesn't even care. So that's the one bad thing today.
So this is saying that David is still a just and fair leader. Because he's a just and fair leader, it means that he's a good leader, and it means that his citizens will be ruled fairly, and they will be happy because of it.
So, when it comes to David and his actions and the end of the book of Shmuel, I think that what he did was obviously wrong in that he wanted to take a census of the Jews, and that's not what he's supposed to do, because when the Jews are counted, they're generally only counted by God, which is why we see in Bamidbar, he takes the census when God tells him to, and he does it with shkalim. He doesn't actually count each one. So therefore, the ramifications of that are pretty terrible, as we see. But when David has his three choices, I think that the choice that he makes, which is to put himself in the hand of God and to choose Dever, which is pestilence, is a very smart choice. Because in the other situations, like he said, if you fall into the hand of man, that's a situation where you could potentially be hurt much worse, because man in general is considered to be more merciless than God. But in this situation, especially since it was only for 3 days, yes, it devastated the kingdom, but God could have chosen to be more merciful than a human being would be. So I think that he was making the best of a bad situation, which granted, he put himself in that situation, but he shows good leadership in determining what the punishment's outcome should be, and that was smart.
Sweet, thanks.
How do leaders' decisions affect their people can be answered by looking at what a leader is. A leader is someone who either by their own power takes charge or is appointed to leadership. And either they've displayed the prowess to show that they deserve to be the leader, and so their actions are going to represent their group and the decisions that their group makes, or they are appointed to that position. But either way, they are going to be the ones that are essentially forced to be the ones making decisions, whether they're discussed with others or not. So as you look at a leader, the reason that they're most likely to be the ones making the decisions, it's their decision making is what ends up making it so that everybody else follows it. Without that leader, you have chaos, and if that leader doesn't do their job, they're going to eventually be overthrown. So it's important to understand that aspect, because the people are affected directly by his leadership. They're eventually either doing what he says or finding someone that they can trust that they'll do what he says, or she, for that.
David is conquering all the people around him. Still recording.
I know, I can't find the stop.
David he chooses the only punishment. He chooses. No, stop. This is written wrong.
Wait, stop.
Ready?
Are you
Shalom.
recording?
Go.
1, 2, 3.